All right, here we go. How you doing today? Scott Kidd, the Yacht Captain investor, here today with a friend of mine, Danny Sullivan. He is a an ex grew up on the trading floor and used to trade commodities and futures, and now he's financing film. How you doing today, Danny?
Good, Scott. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it. For people that don't know who you are, for the couple of people that don't know who you are, um, go ahead and give us a brief intro about yourself.
Brief intro. I started on the Philadelphia Stock Exchange when I was 18 years old. Worked there for about 6 years. I was born in Chicago and then went to Philly. I should take one step back. My father worked on the Midwest Stock Exchange, and then and then he saw an opportunity on the Philadelphia Stock Exchange. He packed us all up from Chicago, went to Philly. I was only 8 or 9 at the time, but graduated high school. No college would take me. And I just went right to the floor and started as a ticket runner. And I
Wow.
left. I worked on the Philly for about 6 years, and then I went to the CBOE. Worked on the Board of Trade, and then I ended my career on the Chicago Stock Exchange with my father. We had a brokerage boutique on the floor. So
Okay.
I always like saying this. It's pretty cool. My two brothers, myself, and my dad, we've worked over a century, on the floor, all between all four of us. So, it was a great time in my life being in the prime
Trader.
of your life in your 20s and 30s and early 40s.
Well, I would imagine. I mean, I lived in New York City for a little while, and I think we were talking about this the other day. I would see all those guys with jackets, and I saw, you could go and look and watch them trading and stuff like that sometimes. And yeah, it looked pretty like, wow, you really had to be on it. It was pretty exciting, especially if you're a young guy. But I imagine it was fairly stressful at times. What's an early memory of being on the trading floor that you really remember?
Well, I gotta say, it's got to be the first day. Um, again, just I remember not sleeping a wink the night before. Got to the floor, and it was just, again, you got to understand, I mean, I'm not saying I was 10 years old,
Hmm.
but just, the option floor was just starting in the Philly because it started in 72, 73 in Chicago on the CBOE. And I think the Philly started, I think 77, 78, somewhere in there. And I got there in 79. It wasn't big, but I mean, just the ticker tape itself to me was the coolest thing in the world.
Oh,
Just
really?
watching the ticker tape. All the people in one room, even though the room was very small at that time, um, and just being surrounded by people that again, like it was like the UN. I mean, really, it was. You got the South Philly, Southwest Philly, and believe it or not, South and Southwest Philly is, those are two different breeds right there. And Kensington, and then I lived on the main line, and it was just it was just an amazing feeling. I don't know how to explain it. It really was something that, again, for me personally, I'll never forget. And I was making like $50 a week, and I thought I was on top of the world at $50 a week. I really
Yeah, yeah,
did. I was living still with my parents, and it was just and then my two brothers were down there at the time, so obviously there was some comfort zone there because
yeah.
my brothers were like, they were on the floor. My old man started bringing us to the floor when we were in high school for summer
Oh,
jobs. Not me, my other two brothers. And so they were 3 years, one, three, the other 5 years ahead of me. And so when I got there, in 79, they were there for a few years already.
okay.
They were, it was comfortable for that, and knowing my two brothers are right there. So that's my
Yeah,
first recollection. I can tell you a zillion other stories, but that's my first and probably my most exciting. Just walking on the floor for the first time, going, I could hang.
yeah.
I could
Well,
definitely hang.
I can tell you kind of light up when you're talking about it. So it's obviously something that you think really fondly of when you're young. It was probably like like you're stepping into to something that you're like, wow, this is gonna be great. You know, there's a few times if you're lucky to have that a few times in your life, that's pretty awesome,
Yeah,
especially at a
I
young age.
basically look at it, and again, a lot of maybe your younger viewers won't get this, but I'm sure you're older. But again, this is in time, not my first day, but I mean, it was like the movie Animal House, but it was with capitalism,
Oh
capitalism
yeah.
Animal House. So yeah, it was a
Well,
bunch of adults acting like kids 24/7. Uh,
yeah, it was
it's just so
adolescent
true.
men, adolescent men,
What's that again, Scott?
Adolescent men,
Oh,
you know,
100%.
full grown children.
Full-grown children 24/7 on the floor. It was just a
Well,
blast.
let's switch gears a little bit
Yeah.
and like because now like you're financing films and stuff like that. Like how did you make that transition from like from a trader to financing film and how did that come together like a was that an evolutionary thing or did it just kind of
Oh
happen
boy,
organically?
that's a great question. And again, I promised myself I don't want to give in these long, drawn out stories, but it was really, and I'm going to be straight up. I was watching. I'm not a big reality show type of guy, and I was watching this show called Life Below Zero. And
Hmm.
without getting into all the details, I thought, wow, it just gave me an idea of a reality show that had to do with trading. And then all of us, it was just more of a domino effect over a long period of time. And I thought, you know what? How about a film? Some type of film about the floor. And again, we did more crazy stuff off the floor than we did on the floor. So they're just, it's like I always say this to
Can
to
only
the people
imagine.
I've discussed this with is there was a movie called The Never Ending Story in the mid '80s. It was a kids movie, and that's what the floor
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It's a
I remember
never
that.
ending story. It's
Yeah.
it's so I basically started really working the phones and trying to get to people because I did not know anyone in the entertainment industry, zero. So
Hmm.
finally, not finally, I should say that I'm talking to whoever, I can't remember. And they said, it took me like two times to get it. They said, Danny, I would say to them, stories, stories, stories. We got the best stories. I can give you the best. And they're like, Danny, you can't make a film about a story. You gotta have to have a storyline. So
Oh.
that's what I did. I said, okay, now I got to come up with a storyline. And what better storyline that I came up with was my own,
Hmm.
with my father. And so I took pencil to paper, and I mean, it's been again a long journey with writing, but let's just start. I started with the floor, and I wanted to make it into a TV series because I thought it'd be impossible to take what I have, and not just I, but everybody from the floor, and put it in a 120-minute movie. So I did all my writing for a TV series. And
Mm.
then about a year and a half into it, I was talking to sort of like a big time producer, and she goes, Danny, stop with the TV series. Unless your last name is Spielberg, the chances of it getting picked up is very slim to none. She goes, make a film. And believe me, man, that was like the best and worst news. Probably what,
Really?
because I had to go back and write. And now the name of the film is called The Opening Bell. So
Mm.
I got a TV series and I got a film, The Opening Bell, and basically it's about the Sullivans, but I have it as the Farrells, and it's a fictional story, but I take real stories and just implement it into the storyline. Not really hard to explain, but I think you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a story about us, but
Yeah, it's kind of
real
a
and
piecemeal.
made up
It's kind of
stories brought
a
in.
real kind of piecemeal together of it's kind of a lot of short stories put together into one amalgamation of
You can say
stories.
it like that, Scott.
Yeah.
And let me just say this really quick. The reason why this is like in my view and a lot of other views, believe me, because again, I've talked to a lot of people, is that this is an empty space. No one's ever done a film about the floor. I mean, you could say
Mhm.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they had that, one scene
Yeah.
when he's in the what do you call it, the guest gallery, and he's doing the hand signals. And then
Yeah.
obviously you have to go back to the 80s for Trading Places. But
Yeah.
Wolf of Wall Street, The Big Short, all those that have nothing to do with the floor. That's just what
Yeah,
we
yeah. They
call
weren't really they weren't really on the floor. They were really what
upstairs
they did
traders.
outside outside of it really was the wild stories and what they got actually got caught up in. It was really what their demise was, really.
Yeah, well, we
Uh,
called them the upstairs traders, the floor people. So that's where I'm really excited about this. I've got a director, a production company, an LOI, a budget, and I'm just trying to raise a little bit more. So I think this is not that I think, I really know this is a incredible investment opportunity. And believe me, I say this, and am I doing it for this? Absolutely not. But boy, wouldn't it be great to be part of something that's the very first?
yeah,
Not too many people can say, "Hey, I was part of something that was number one," and that's
yeah.
what I'm trying to do.
Well, it's funny because, a lot of things, like 5, 6, 7 years ago, I didn't know that it was, even though the first captain's job I had, I worked for a developer, a commercial developer. I didn't know that these things were actually accessible to me. And I have a good friend of mine that he has an art fund, and now, I know you that you're raising money for film and stuff, and I didn't know this was accessible to me. And a lot of people don't know that these things are available, that you can actually get involved and actually, invest in like films. And like we were discussing the other day, everybody loves films. And if it's something that you're passionate about, like obviously you're passionate about finance and financial, it just makes sense for you to, build something like this, which I think is very creative and it's very forward thinking how you can combine the two things that you know a lot about, like the trading floor and actually sharing your story. Tell us a little bit more about some of your other projects that you're doing beside the film.
Well, if you don't mind, let me just follow up what you just said. It just again came to me. I go, what better two industries would be the financial industry and the entertainment industry and combine them both? I
Hmm.
mean, it's a perfect match because obviously the entertainment industry, if you need something done in meaning a film, let's just stick with film, you're going to need financiers, investors.
Oh
So
yeah.
and again, I just combined both of them. And right now, with the film, as I mentioned, it's just that I have an LOI attached already, and I'm just looking to raise a little bit more. And the one thing that I hear all the time, and hope everybody's listening to this, is that film is a bad investment. I mean, that's a
Hmm.
bunch of crap. It really is because if it was such a bad investment, why is it still
Why is it
here
still
after
going?
100 years or whatever?
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of crap. So make this very clear is that I'm an indie developer, not a MGM Lionsgate.
Yeah, yeah. Big
This movie's going to be between 5 and 7 million. Again, when you said my other projects, I might as well just say this now. An indie is considered really a 1 million up to a 20 million. That's what we call an indie film. So,
Okay.
just want to let that very clear that just ignore the hogwash about it's a bad
Yeah.
investment. You just
Well,
have to go ahead, Scott.
I get the same thing with real estate and a lot of other stuff. Oh, real estate's bad, multifamily's bad or whatever. But you know what? People still need to live somewhere. People are still going to watch movies. you know. And people love movies. So I think there probably are bad investments in both, but there are also some great investments that, and great opportunities that you can get involved with. Just, and that's why, we're doing this here, talking about it so that other people, well, at least if they're curious, they can find out about it and know that, hey,
Yeah,
this
just
could be an opportunity, or this is something cool I'd even like to just know about. You don't necessarily have to invest, but you might you might learn that, hey, maybe this is something I could do too, and you got something that you're passionate about, and that's what I really love about like talking to people like yourself. Like you've combined two unique worlds, and you're actually taking it and running with it and building a cool project.
And let me say this, give me one industry that's 100% guaranteed that you're going to make money. I mean, come on.
None.
It's just such a joke. It really is. Now, again,
Yeah, yeah.
is
No
there risky?
guarantees.
No guarantees. Is there more risk in other industries? Absolutely. But if
Yeah,
you attach
yeah,
to a good production company, a good director, good actors,
yeah,
um, and again, like I said, we're not making 250, half a billion dollar movies. These are
yeah,
just indie films. And one more thing, Scott. Oh my gosh, is if anybody is interested in, I have I've got a pitch deck. I've got an executive summary. Um, I'd be more than willing to share.
yeah. We
Um,
can we can put that in the show notes or and what have you. Anybody
okay,
that
yeah,
might be
yeah.
interested, we can do that. And I just want to add to that that there are bad investments and there are good ones. But like with film or real estate or the stock market or whatever, you're betting on the operator, the CEO. Like you're betting on Danny Sullivan to come through for you. You're betting on Scott Kidd to be a good steward of your capital. If you believe in the project and you believe in him, then it's going to be a good thing. If you believe that he's going to go to the mat, which I believe that you will, you're going to go all the way with it and make sure that you see it through. And that's who you're betting on. That's who you're investing with. That's who you're actually partnering with. And that's what it's all about. It could be any kind of project. It's not necessarily a good or bad investment. You could have a good or bad operator, and that's the deciding factor.
It is. You couldn't have said it any better. I mean, if you really believe in the project, that's that's what it's all about. But
Yeah,
then after if you believe in something, then you got to say, okay, who's your team? Who's around this?
yeah,
And again, for my sake, it's the director and the composer and so forth and so on. So, like again, just to give you an example, it just happened yesterday. As you mentioned, uh, this interview probably won't be out for another week or two, but um,
yeah.
I have a producer out in LA that just showed it to George Clooney's
Oh,
production
cool.
company. Yeah.
Nice.
And I responded back. I go, hey, George Clooney can play my dad, and so is it a long shot? Absolutely. But still, the key to this is that I have a big time producer out in LA that believes in this space, believes in this. She loves the script and she loves the floor, all that crazy anxiety,
Hmm.
what it brings on and off the floor, I should say. So yeah,
Yeah.
I got that just yesterday. We'll see, man.
That's pretty cool. I think there's room for this because there's so many stories to be told about this stuff, and I myself I'm pretty curious because I think it's I've always been intrigued by finance and how all that stuff gets moved around and stuff like that. And I remember, like I said, looking through the window and watching all these people running around, and it just looked like an absolute mess to me. But in if you're in there, it's probably like a controlled chaos. You know exactly who's going what. You know who you need, which direction you need to point to get your deals done and stuff like that. And that's everyone has their own, every system and every segment of society has its nuance and its own language, and you hear them shouting all these terms and everything, and you have no idea. But it's really, it's if you put in all the reps or you watched it, eventually you'd kind of figure out the rhythm.
Yeah, you said it. That was the best two words right there. It was controlled chaos. But yeah,
Yeah.
everybody knew it was really not really the shouting that was really no, the shouting, don't get me wrong, because that's all they did but it was the hand signals. The hand
Yeah.
signals were a really big part of communicating with someone that was all the way
Yeah.
across the pit. You
Yeah.
just do your so. But yeah, control
The,
chaos and
the
good
shouting wouldn't
way of
really
putting
bother me. It'd be much like my childhood.
it. Exactly. Well, me too, man. I'm right with you
Yeah,
on
well, we
that.
both
What do you say?
somewhat the same generation where the parents, if they were talking to you, most of the time they were shouting.
You should have said to my young child and up to my 40s,
Yeah, well, to this day, I mean, I love you, Dad, but if I want to get yelled at, I'll call my dad.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome, man.
But
So,
he's
okay, so you asked me about okay, so I'm just going to move on to my docuseries. Make this brief.
excellent.
Uh this is the most important part. I have a showrunner. And if you don't know what a showrunner is, very self-explanatory. They have a show and they run with it. So in this case, it would be my show would be it's called The Floor, CBOT, and she is going to run it to probably like she has five streamers and about three or four networks, and the biggies are Hulu and network. Hulu and
Netflix.
Netflix. And
Yeah.
so once again, I can't tell you how important it is. Just like any other industry, but especially in the entertainment, it's who you know and who
Yeah.
can get you in the door. That's all there is to it, and who has the checkbook. So uh, I reached out to her. It didn't take too long. She goes, "I love this." She said it's non-political, it's anxiety driven, and it's what they're looking for. And I'm like, again, I'm really going to get excited because when she responded back to me, I was just like on cloud nine. I mean, this is we're talking about a heavy hitter in the unscripted world. So
Wow.
this is about basically what I decided instead of any of you. I'm from Chicago. Um, the Netflix they had The Last Dance about the Bulls. It's about 8 or 10 episodes. One
Hmm.
of the best. If anybody, I totally
Oh
recommend it.
yeah, I've watched it. That is a great that
It
is
was
a
just
great series.
so well
Oh,
done.
it's
So
really
basically, what
well
I'm
done.
doing is instead of covering the floors in 8 or 10 episodes, I'm going to hit each floor separately. So I decided the board of trade. Each floor has its own character, own personality. They traded their own products, and most of all, the most important, not one story will ever be duplicated. That's the
Ah,
key. That's the key. So board of trade first. Um, Looking for a very minimal investment on that. I mean, extremely minimal. And let's just be the optimist I am, go to the peak of the mountain and say this is a hit. Then I'm going to go to another floor and then another floor and then another floor. So it starts
right.
with the board of trade. And if someone asks me, okay, what's your second one? I'd probably go with the Merc because the Merc, I've done podcasts like yours, Scotty, and I've spoken to oh my gosh, the last how many decades. The Merc was just, I mean, really, I don't want to give anything away, but it was just it is a perfect docu-series. I should have started with the Merc,
Really.
went to the Board of Trade, but my loyalty goes to the Board of Trade. And so yeah, I have a sizzle. It's about a minute and 40 seconds, and I have a one pager, they call it, about what it's going to be about. So if anybody wants to get in touch with me, I would be more than happy to send both the sizzle and the one pager, and they'll have more information. But I'm really, again, really excited about that too. The
That
document.
sounds like it's definitely something to build on, and it's definitely got like an open-ended structure where it can just kind of be a never-ending story,
There
like you're
you go.
saying.
I,
It can just keep evolving and keep, you keep bringing people in because, people like I know for me, like we all get hooked on the saga. As it evolves, we get into the next part and the next part. There was one thing I watched on Netflix. I think it was like some kind of Viking thing or whatever, and I got hooked on it just because it kept me hanging in the right. Like, what's gonna happen with? Oh, and it's the season's over, so it's like, oh man, I'm waiting for the next one because I'm
yeah,
gonna find out what these guys did, even though. It's a completely illusion. It was a fake story or whatever. Some of it might have been real or what have you, but they kept you involved because, like with the trading and stuff, you want to know hey, what's this guy going to do next, or why is he involved with her, or why is she, where's she going to come into the story? It's one of those things that where you could really keep building on. You see, like there's not a lot of stories these days. There's always like a finality to it. Like it's 3, 4 episodes and then it disappears and you're like, oh, I could have done with another season of that, but
oh, I could say that about a lot. Yeah, I agree with
yeah,
that. The thing with
you know,
this that she told me is that let's just say again, they like it. Well, if they like it and it does well, they're going to want more. I mean, common
yeah,
sense. So that is why I did it with per floor instead of all together,
yeah.
because if this works, they're going to say, "Give me more. That's what's next." And that's why I'm going to the
Well,
Merck and then the SIBO and then the New York Stock Exchange and the Amex and the Pecos. I mean, it just keeps
yeah.
going and going and going.
Well, and that's kind of what the reality show Below Deck, that's what happened with that. They just did one season and then so everybody wanted more. Next thing you know, they're Below Deck Mediterranean, Caribbean,
There you
really,
go, man.
East Coast, everywhere.
Yeah.
They're on, I don't know, 10 plus seasons or whatever, and it could very easily develop into something that for the right audience, and it kind of fits a lot of people because, like you said, it's apolitical. We get bombarded with all this politics stuff all day, every day. It does my head, and I don't follow any of it because it seems to be
Yeah,
a
I agree.
mess.
I mean, that was the
Bigger,
Scott. That was the first thing she said. Out
yeah,
of that, she goes, "It's non-political. That's why
yeah.
they're gonna love this." I'm like, "No, this is totally not political. This is
and
just,
and everybody's inquisitive, or I know I am, especially when it comes to finance and money, like I said, how all this stuff moves around, and you might learn something a little bit about how what these guys were actually doing, because I was probably, yeah, I was in my late 20s when I was in New York City, and I was watching these guys, and I'm like, I have no idea what these guys are doing, but they're actually moving stuff around in the world. And I was like, they're actually making stuff happen. And I'm like, so that's how that works. Like, so many things worldwide because of these transactions are making things happen in the
hey, so
world. And
let me give you a
fascinated by
silly
that.
example. Give you a silly example what you just said. You had a buy ticket and a sell ticket, and you matched them. Okay, now that's all. It's a piece of paper.
Hmm.
Okay. If something was wrong, I won't get into, and I'll make it simple. If the volume was wrong, like if they didn't catch the sell was a hundred lot and the buy was a hundred lot, okay?
Boom. Done.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. Let's just say it was a hundred lot on the buy and 200 on the sell. It was written up wrong. So
Yeah.
then the next day, then at the close they would check. This is Philly most of all, but it would be checked. And if they didn't, if myself did not catch that error, then it would go into the next day where you get your sheets and then you would check your trades again to see if everything matched. My whole point to this is if an error isn't caught the next day and the stock opens up this much, whatever the mismatch is, it could turn into a lot of money lost. So really
Oh,
think about it. A piece of paper was worth a lot of money. I mean, a
yeah.
lot of money. I said, I don't want to start throwing out these fictitious numbers. It could be $100. It could be ten thousand
100
dollars. And
grand.
ten thousand
Yeah.
dollars back then was a lot of money compared to
Yeah.
today. So again, it's just funny you said that. It's just like you're looking around, and really what it came down to. And again, one more time, it's just two pieces of paper, and it didn't match, and we didn't catch it. Then it cost a lot of money, and that's how a lot of people lost their jobs too, because they weren't catching these errors. Because everything was done by
Wow.
this.
Yeah. Done by pen and paper. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
So
Well,
that's
now I guess the big difference now is a lot of it's electronic and stuff like that too,
Oh,
right? Those
yeah, it's all computerized. Back then was eyesight and pens and pieces of paper and
paper.
yeah. So
Wow.
that was
So
that
is
you
is
made me
that the
think of that when you
genre? Is that the genre you're going for? Is like the 70s, 80s, 90s kind of?
the opening bell starts in 1976 and then it goes all the way into the early 2000s.
Ah, okay. So that's when the tech moved in. Okay. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
go yeah.
That's
It's
pretty
when
cool.
actually what happens is I have it all the way to the point where public outcry was
Okay.
coming to an
Okay.
end. So, but again,
That's
that's
pretty cool. I mean, I think that's, it's actually, for me coming of age in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that, I remember people having stocks and stuff, and I thought it was pretty fascinating, but you had to pay a broker X amount of percentage, and, you had to be in, you couldn't really, you had to have a certain amount to get in and trade and everything. And now it's like a click of a button on your phone, and anybody can do anything, which is
well,
pretty,
I'll lead right into, hey, Scott, if you don't mind, I'll lead right into my next project. Because that's a perfect lead in what you just said, even though you don't know you, perfect lead in is my reality show that I have. It's called The Day Trader. And
okay.
and right now I have why do I feel like this is going to be explosive? It's because of what you just said. Day
Yeah.
trading is mainstream now. Day trading
Hmm.
is everywhere. You can do it on your cell phone. You can do it obviously really anywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
And like I said, on a cell phone, you can be on a yacht in wherever
yeah.
you're at and day trade.
Antigua, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need. So right now I have two studios, one in Texas and one in Chicago that wants to film this. Um, there's so much more to this than I can give away because this is the only project I require anyone from the studio heads to financier or to just anyone. Let's put it anyone. They have to sign an NDA. So um, again, the last two projects have been kind of just starting up the docuseries and the reality show. The film I've been working on tirelessly, writing and promoting and talking about it and so forth and so on. So yeah, again, very excited about this reality show. And as I will say again, if anyone's interested in discussing this more, I'd be more than happy to talk and
Yeah.
sign an
Well,
NDA, and you're going to see the whole guts of it.
well, that's, that's, it's, I think it's really exciting. You got three great projects that are coming up, that all kind of lead other than mix like two things you're obviously very passionate about because like I said, you really lit up when you were talking about the trading floor when you walked on as a kid at 18 years old, and now you're still lit up because you're talking about filming it, making a film about it, which I think is really cool. And it's something that a lot of people could probably get behind and get excited about because you're obviously excited about it, and you're going to see it all the way through. But just to help the audience out there, if people want to get a hold of you and find out more, how do they get a hold of
Okay,
Danny
just if you don't
Sullivan?
mind taking one step, just so you know that it's really important to also understand this isn't a one and done deal. I mean,
Yeah.
this, as I said this to you before, this space, everything I've said, docuseries, reality, is untapped, zero. Not to say that I know someone's doing in the back end, and let's just say someone does come in. This is going to be just not just someone has one idea and everybody's going to sit back and do nothing. Everybody's going to start thinking of their own stuff because I have spoken to countless traders, clerks from the floor that have contacted me and said, I've got a script. I've got a script. I've got a script. I've got a storyline. And I, again, the ones with the storyline, I say, you got to put that in writing, just like I did. So my opinion, find a writer, put it on paper, get a script, you got to take it from there. So right now I have about six IPs. And when I say it's not one and done, I'm going to say, obviously, the docuseries, because I'm going to hit every floor. The film, I'm, I just can't say it more enough. It can go in 1,000 different directions. And then I'm going to, down the road, once everything starts settling in, because my space is only the financial, but I'm going to do other types of genres. But right now, this is
Hmm.
my space. And again, I always use Taylor Sheridan as an example. He does other stuff, but what's his main, like his go-to in the last 10 years? It's Westerns. And I
Hmm.
consider Landman, it's not a Western, but it's in Texas. It's about
Yeah, yeah.
oil.
It's
Wait, let me
modern Western,
say it again, Scott.
modern Western,
It really is.
urban
I mean,
cowboy.
again, he
Yeah.
wears a cowboy hat, but it's Texas. What
Yeah.
what I what I'm trying to do is emulate exactly what Taylor Sheridan is doing. But instead of the West and oil, if you think about it,
Finance.
Westerns are Americana. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't get more Americana than Westerns. Then you have oil. Okay, oil. That's capitalism at
Yeah.
its best.
That's
Now I have
Americana.
this over here where it's capitalism, but it's untapped right now. And
Yeah.
so my goal is, again, boy, oh boy, what a dream come true to be the Taylor Sheridan of the financial space. And
Yeah. Well,
it's all ready to go.
well,
It's
and
all
that's
ready to go. Just need
what's,
that
what's more American
capitalism.
than the
American,
most the most the most open capital markets in the world.
exactly. I say, again, the last 4 or 5 years, capitalism was sort of like a bad word, no longer. But instead of capitalism,
Never
think it
was to
is,
me.
it's the American dream.
Yeah, never was to
That's what
me.
it is. That's what it is. It's the American dream. And right now, look at Taylor Sheridan. He just
Crushing
signed
it.
$1 billion contract, I think, with Paramount.
Yeah.
So it's there for the taking. It really is. It's there for the taking.
Well, I've said this before and I'll say this again, like best country in the world is all relative to your likes, dislikes, culture, and things like that. But as far as like financial opportunity, it's USA bar none.
Bar none.
Bar none.
100%.
There's not
Yeah,
even close. There's no place even close. I've been a lot of places in the world and tried to start businesses and stuff like that and tried to do things and this is, it's a great place with great opportunity. That's why everybody wants to come here.
that's right, Scott. Right. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I couldn't agree more with that. Now
Yeah.
you said,
And
how do they get in touch with me? I mean, just my email address, and I'll give it. I mean, you know it already. You can put that in the bio that I'll provide.
I'll put in the show notes, but you
Yeah,
just say it so the people can get a hold of you if they want.
yeah, it's a DS, Danny Sullivan, DS. Um, oh, now I should I give it? Yeah, DS the floor. It's probably the best. DS the floor at Gmail.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's
No, I think
that's
that's
great.
just the
So
easiest. And, excuse me.
no, so that's fantastic because that way, if anybody wants to know more about it, know about more about Danny Sullivan, find out from him directly, just feel free to reach out because I think it's a really exciting project and it's going to be some really this one of many and more to come. You're looking at the Sheridan of the finance world here.
You go. That's a good one too. I like that, Scott. I like that, man.
So,
Awesome.
I really appreciate you coming on and talking to me. And I look forward to actually having you on, maybe 6 months, a year from now, or, a little bit later and seeing where everything's progressing and everything. Because I think it's all new to me. And I think it's really cool that you can actually get involved with that. Because, like I said, 5, 6 years ago, I didn't know that I could be launching a fund for real estate. I didn't know that I'd know people that are raising money for film or art or, all these different things. And that's, if you can invest in all these things, if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know?
There you go, man. And
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, but I'm in the entertainment side.
Yeah.
You're in the real estate
Well,
side.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. I mean, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Scott. Really, it was fun.
Yeah, well, we'll do it again soon. This is again, I'm Scott Kidd, the yacht captain investor. It's just a pleasant reminder that the best investment you can always make is the one that you make in yourself. So invest wisely in yourself, and we'll see you guys next time.